there was no transition on that, but hello everyone. How are you doing? Yes. So, yeah, I've been pretty busy recently. I didn't stream on Saturday due to pretty much work, and then we picked up a mahjong table, an automatic mahjong table, which is now set up in the basement, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Yocambo. But yeah. Everything is pretty good. RIP Canada. Yeah. That is pretty unfortunate, but it is what it is. I was going to cover a bit of that today, so just not too long. Just give my thoughts on it. So pretty much, oh, don't even have. Oh, there you go. Please. Okay, whatever. Anyways. Yeah, that happened. So now we've got in a guy who endorses that we should avoid our taxes. So let's all do that. Let's all practice tax avoidance like the guy we got in. Because that is the way we are going now. But yeah. I can't really pull up the map. I don't have the map. Let's see if I can do this. Give me one moment. Oh, this one goes here. Throw this down. Add window cap. Add screen cap. Display cap. And automatic main. Okay. Let me pull this one over here. Yes. So yeah. Majority of the map is blue, but because of our electoral system, it seems pretty rigged. I would say it's pretty rigged. It's pretty much, it's not based on the total number of votes you get, but how many seats you get per area. So if your votes are concentrated in one area, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll get more seats. Had to pay taxes this year after I filed everything. Kind of wish you didn't. Yeah. Well, I know there are some people that are not happy about this as well. NT based. And then so yeah, some people are actually looking into seeing how they can also do the same practice that our new PM Prime Minister has done in the past, which is avoiding taxes and connecting with safe havens. So I think, and then they're going to share that information out. So I think that's pretty good. But yeah, Canada might, the worst in the worst scenario, Canada might not even be Canada anymore, where the West is actually considering separation. So, who knows? We'll see in a year, but in a year, if Canada is no longer Canada, then it is what it is. Yeah, the concentration of population is usually where it's red, and that's where more of the seats are. So in Toronto, in Vancouver, in Ottawa, in Montreal, all the big cities. Yep, pretty much. The whole GTA, except for Markham. Markham, it was pretty much blue. But yeah, a lot of emotional roller coasters across the country probably. I did feel a few things, but then I also took it out a degree of separation where I just put it aside and then identify why am I feeling these things? Does it really matter? No. Anything I can do to change it? No. Then we'll put it aside and that's it. We'll just move on. You're surprised Mississauga isn't blue? Mississauga, yeah, they were blue initially, but then they flipped. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, someone also linked me a video. Let's just go through and see what it is. Oh right, it's a TLDR. Okay, let's go through that. Let me swap off this. Swap onto browser. Let me kill BGM. Just throw desktop. Kitchener is actually blue, which is kind of sad because I thought it would be either green or red. Yeah.
In the end, the Liberals, now led by former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney, won again, which would have been unimaginable only a few months ago. So
this is Canada's election results explained, TLDR.
What happened yesterday and what it means.
Bay Area here has always been blue, but the difference between this time was so much closer. Yeah.
We're getting ever closer to 1 million subscribers, and 68% of you haven't even subscribed yet. So lend us a hand and subscribe today. So let's start with a quick recap. As you probably already know, the defining story of this campaign has been the revival of Canada's Liberal Party.
Yeah, they were pretty much down because of Trudeau. If the election happened anywhere earlier, any earlier before Carney even got in, it would be completely different. And that only happened because of the NDP, who blocked the early elections.
Today, however, things look completely different. Since January, the Liberals have been steadily surging in the polls, while the Conservatives have been slipping. And most of the last pre-election polls...
Jagme is out now? Yes, thank God.
This reversal had two main drivers. First, and most obviously, Trump. Trump's constant threats of trade wars and annexation have upended Canadian politics.
Yeah, well, I feel like majority of the rhetoric was focused more on Trump, which I don't think that should have been the case, but
turning an election that had previously been focused on domestic issues like the economy into a referendum on
that's just how the media spun it.
Unfortunately for Polyev,
And the media
Canada's
is
genuinely
paid off
referred to
by
as
the
successor,
liberals,
former Bank of
which
Canada Governor
then
Mark Carney.
the media, our mainstream media now
49%
is
thought Carney would be best placed to negotiate with
pretty
Trump,
much
and
narrative
53%
driven now,
who thought it would be
where
Polyev.
like
Similarly,
even
while
throughout
Polyev's
the election, like when they were electing or when they were announcing the results, a lot of it was just narrative to slander the conservatives. It was kind of hard to listen to.
rhetoric works
It was just
unpopular in
instead of just stating the results, it's just slandering. It's sad. It's sad to see how the cost of living issues never got talked about after they could just dog on Trump. Yep. It's pretty much TDS, which is Trump derangement syndrome. Everyone's just too focused on Trump. And that's just how it went.
And NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. According to Angus Reid, Carney's approval rating has hovered around +15 for most
Yeah,
of the campaign.
Orange Man bad. That was the narrative that they tried focusing on.
Bad news in and of itself for Polyev and the Conservatives, but it's made even worse by the fact that Canada uses a first-past-the-post electoral system, which tends to favour the Liberals. In other words,
Voting system favoring the Liberals, yeah.
Votes in each of Canada's 343 geographical constituencies, which are called ridings in Canada. These sorts of majoritarian systems generally favour larger parties, but in Canada the system especially favours the Liberals over the Conservatives, because Conservative vote share tends to be more concentrated in specific areas.
Oh, yep. Just like I was saying earlier.
More efficiently distributed. This is especially true at the election, because the Liberal poll surge came at the expense of the NDP, a smaller party to the left of the Liberals.
The NDPs dropped off. They literally fell off.
Anyway, you can
they fell off because Jagmeet Singh was like, if you listen to any of his speeches, he's just pandering to, he's just saying stuff, and he's all if you ever fact checked him, he's literally just saying stuff that is like what people want to hear, but he doesn't really do anything. Yep, he never did anything.
338 Canada's poll aggregator with its seat forecast. In mid-March, the Conservatives were still 3 points ahead of the Liberals, but 338 Canada was already predicting that the Liberals would win more seats because their vote share is more evenly distributed.
Oh yeah, that was also crazy. Just the media being just putting Liberals on all the time. In any mainstream media, you won't ever see the Conservatives ever getting praised whatsoever. But that's mainstream media.
Nonetheless, this translated into
All the projected pollings was always Liberal focused. It was, even though it may not have been, but yeah.
And the Conservatives on track to win 40.
It's just to push a narrative.
Or 146. As usual, the Liberals performed best in urban areas, including Toronto, Montreal and Vancouver, while the Conservatives performed best in more rural areas in the southwest, especially in the provinces of Alberta and Saskatchewan. The remaining seats will mostly go to
Alberta and
the
Saskatchewan.
a Quebec nationalist party that only runs candidates in the province of Quebec, and the New Democratic Party, a social democratic party that sits to the left of the Liberals.
Yeah, the Bloc NDP fell off, but the Bloc also lost a good chunk of their seats.
23 seats. This is admittedly well down on the 32 they won at the last election, with most of these seats going to the Liberals.
Yeah, most of the Bloc seats that were lost went to Libs. And then the NDPs also, most of them also went to the Libs.
Falling steadily in the polls ever since Carney took charge of the Liberals. Unfortunately for the NDP, they ended up slightly underperforming the polls, winning just 6.1% of the popular vote and just 7 seats. This is a pretty terrible result compared to...
Oh yeah, they're also not an official party anymore, apparently.
18% of the vote and 25 seats.
Or they're not official... They don't have official party status because they didn't get 10 seats.
already noticed, the Liberals look like they've fallen short of the 172 seats required to form an outright majority government. This means Carney will face almost the same predicament as Trudeau did in 2021, namely whether to go into some sort of electoral alliance with the NDP, which would just about give him enough seats for a majority. Trudeau ended up negotiating a confidence and supply agreement with the NDP.
He's so glad the two largest parties cannibalized everything else.
The NDP withdrew in September of last year.
Yeah.
However, this might be slightly harder for Carney, given he's probably slightly to the right of Trudeau, while the NDP are well off to the left of the Liberals. Although much here depends on who the NDP elect as their new leader.
You'd love being like the USA, a two-party system? Yeah. A two-party system would actually... If we were a two-party system here in Canada, I think it would be a lot more fair. Yeah, we don't have the NDP like in Parliament interrupting all the time and just like disrupting the flow of things.
Threats of annexation and
also, the Green Party actually intentionally disbanded 100 of their candidates just so that they could not split the vote, which means that the Liberals did get more of those votes as well.
And it'll be interesting to see if Trump has a similar but probably less acute effect on this weekend's Australian election, where it looks like a right-wing challenger to an incumbent left-wing government is struggling to shake associations with Trump. At TLDR News, we're always trying to help you learn more about the world around you. Luckily for us, our sponsor this week, Brilliant, shares this same commitment. Their thousands of interactive lessons in math, science, programming, data analysis, and AI are designed to help you learn by actually doing, rather than asking you to mindlessly memorize.
But yeah.
For instance, each lesson is filled with hands-on problem solving.
Well, either way, it is what it is.
A method proven to be 6 times more effective than watching.
We can only tell within the next few months to a year what's going on.
Maths courses help you establish a strong foundation in algebra.
Yeah, the media. Oh, it's also unfortunate, but that happened where Pierre also lost his seat. But that was also a very ridiculous thing that happened, because his riding, like, it was so dumb, where his riding had 91 candidates riding. Oh, well, there goes that. His riding had 96 candidates because some the longest poll group decided to just get 150 signatures and sign up as a candidate in his riding, so that their polls were their selection sheet was 3 pages long or something of candidates, which then they also printed out I think it was 70 to 80,000 sheets. So such a waste of paper, such a waste of time, people's time to count up the the sheets, because they have to unfold it, and yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's throw that. Yeah. Let me see. Is there anything else in the queue? Oh. Yeah, officially done with. Were there ads? Why did my? Let me check. Oh, random ad break. Hey, Restream bot has subscribed. Yeah, my bot is broken. Why? Community. Does subbing get rid of ads? I think it does. Let me just double check the settings. Monetization ads. I'm pretty sure I set it so that subscribers don't see ads. It's also funny because I also covered that topic just to test something where apparently on Twitch, if you talk about political things, ads are not supposed to play. But apparently ads are still playing. Also, like, let me also check my streamer bot. It should have popped up a thing in the corner if an ad was playing, but I didn't even notice it. And no, it did not pop up. Why is that? Community bits cheering, but yeah. I have another video on that someone sent me that they wanted me to watch. Let's do that. What is this?
Bubble tea is the hottest food and beverage category
Oh.
in the modern age and has been growing nonstop
True?
across the West since the early 2010s. Unlike past fads like frozen yogurt and cupcakes, bubble tea has established its staying power as both a product and business.
Bubble tea is
Bubble
great.
tea was introduced to the US in the 90s by chains like Quickly and Tapioca Express. But they suffered pioneering costs as their growth was restricted to the predominantly Asian
Oh, let me take
communities
that
of St.
off.
Gabriel, Sunset, and Flushing. Boba in this era was a cheap $1 to $2 drink made from powdered mixes and non-dairy creamer. Because flavors were
I
identical
remember
from chain to
when
chain,
we
these
did
first
not have good boba. It was like just cheap powdered mixes and it was just not good. Then the first chain that we had that was pretty good was Cha Time. And then Coco came in
flavors relied on low prices prices
later, and then
cross-sell to
now we have
survive.
like a ton of
Bubble tea
different
was an
chains.
entry-level, low-margin turnkey retail business, and the only way anyone really made money back then was through franchising. While things remained primitive in the West, the industry progressed in the East. Beverages universally have been a low-barrier industry. Real estate requirements are low, product costs are mostly water and prepackaged commodities, and labor is simple as anyone
Oh,
can
so it
boil
was
water
you.
and pour milk. These factors make beverage-based
True.
businesses easy to scale. Starbucks, Dunkin', and Jamba Juice had shown through the 90s how to snowball momentum from a single store into a sprawling franchise empire. New brands like Gongcha and Happy Lemon emerged across
Gongcha.
Asia, looking to
Gongcha's pretty
replicate that
good.
success in boba.
I mean, they're
They brewed
okay.
teas, used real milk, and expanded toppings to make higher
I still
quality, distinct
prefer
drinks and diverse menus.
Cocoa
This helped
or
broaden the
Cha
menu,
Time.
push higher prices, and drive greater consumption. By the 2010s, competition had intensified across China and Taiwan, with each new entrant adding their own spin. Some turned
Oh,
bubble
thanks
tea
for
into
the
extravagant
sub.
desserts with cheese foam, cream, candies, and nuts. And others followed the path of third-wave coffee, elevating the drink with fresh fruit, photogenic layers, natural sweeteners, organic milks, and
Yo,
store
cheese foam
ambiance.
is actually pretty
These
good.
winning concepts and trends started in Asia and then slowly trickled to the US.
Zing Food,
While Western
Tang.
companies conventionally look east, bubble tea is the rare industry where it's east going west. China and Taiwan have become saturated with brands
Yeah?
and their profits have slowed.
I don't
But
think
as
I've ever
legacy
tried
coffee
that
giants have
one.
stagnated, as more Asians have immigrated to America and Asian American culture has grown, bubble tea in the US has become a gold rush. Americans possess the highest disposable income in the world, have demonstrated their interest in boba, and yet have the lowest familiarity with the product. Asian brands have invested millions of dollars into US franchising and even rewritten their own history for better branding and marketing.
Yeah?
Independents have created their own concepts which
Number
compete on
one
product
boba
and
tea.
originality. What was once a low-margin niche business in the 90s is now a high-margin, high-cash-flow business that has caught the eye of Starbucks and even fast food chains. As the birthplace of boba in the U.S. and home to the largest population of Asian
Oh, the
Americans
US
in the
has-
country, there are more bubble tea shops in L.A. than anywhere else. Los
Dang.
Angeles represents the forefront.
They
as
probably also
consumption
have a
and standards
bigger
are years
Asian
ahead compared to any
population.
other city in the West. Innovation is a prerequisite to survival. While Asian chains have attempted to dominate Southern California, their franchises never seem to last under the never-ending onslaught of new entrants. In this modern MBA exclusive, we're going on the ground to understand the hidden economics of bubble tea and what it takes to win in this world from the lens of 3 different shops.
Probably not gonna watch the whole thing, but we'll see where we get.
2024 has started with
Los
mass layoffs
Angeles has like
across
15
industries,
million
even
people.
startups are falling apart.
Yeah?
It's the people with the strongest skills who are weathering this storm. If you're not skilled enough, there's a good chance that you're having a hard time finding a job where you feel secure in your current position. One thing that can skyrocket your performance in business is learning how to use AI. But did you know you can learn AI and overcome these challenges for free from today's sponsor, Growth School? Growth School is offering the massive, and every neighborhood is its own market. While retail businesses are conventionally spread out in American urban design, this stretch of land in West LA is an anomaly. Sandwiched between UCLA and Santa Monica, these 3 blocks are prime real estate with unmatched foot traffic and clientele. Some of the city's most popular food and beverage concepts are all clustered here on Sawtelle. It takes 6
Yeah?
minutes to walk from one end to the other, and along the way,
Japantown.
customers can choose from 40 restaurants, 3 cafes, 8 patisseries, 2 bars, and 5 bubble tea shops. Competition here is literally
It sounds
one
like
step away. The
any
density makes
downtown
business here a
core
true
that we have
zero-sum
here as
game,
well.
and that any customer that gets bubble tea at one of
Whether
the 5
it's downtown Toronto, North York, downtown Markham, downtown Saga,
boba shops
it's just
results
full
in a
of
direct loss
shops,
of income for
food
the other
shops.
4. With such material opportunity costs, how do you differentiate and carve out market share on Sawtelle? This is a challenge that Hannah has faced since opening 7 Miles Tea Lab. She entered the industry 5 years ago as a franchisee for one of Taiwan's hottest chains. Coming from China, she knew the business potential for boba, but was content as a newbie, tapping into the knowledge and resources of an established brand. But that relationship turned frosty as she lacked the autonomy as a franchisee and the brand lacked flexibility as a franchiser. When things slowed, Hannah came up with 3 new drinks to reignite sales, but it took many months of back and forth with HQ to get approval. What Hannah saw as necessary adaptation and local insight, her franchisor saw as meddling. They would rather keep scaling, even if that meant fitting square pegs into round holes, than to slow down. Ironically, Hannah's 3 drinks became the chain's bestsellers, and this gave her the belief that she could create and capture more value going her own way. She used her developed expertise and connections to try an MVP in a smaller market. The first 7 Miles opened up in Artesia and served as a 2-year-long proving ground before moving on to Sawtelle. And having gone from franchise to independent, Hannah knew firsthand what she could compete on.
The advantage of having a very small brand, of having it born in LA, is the flexibility of knowing your customer and design the right product for the customer you're serving for. This brand is not born in Asia. We're trying to study the people here.
Yeah, the culture in Asia and the US is completely different.
Definitely have the brand name. But what people don't know is they always have more negotiating power. When they're coming to their inventories, they probably have the first access to the best inventories. Whereas for us, we have to spend time researching and getting it to our hands. That's from the ingredients perspective. Coming from a big brand, if you are one of the franchisees, then you are enjoying the marketing force behind that brand, and you're enjoying a lot of people who are working on logistics, not just the shops. Some of the really bigger brands or some of the mega players probably have the technology to have the cup scanned and have all the ingredients.
And all the fancy stuff that they have
to train our people,
just to shake
memorize
it.
the recipe, and it takes a lot of
Swirling the cup
also
with
takes a lot
the...
of mistakes for them to
They
make
try
the
really
right
hard.
choice. The efforts that you're trying to put in your employees are very, very different. They probably can focus on service from their day one. We have to focus on making the drink right from day one. If an
Yeah.
employee is good at making drinks and not good at service, we cannot fire him because we need him to make the right drink.
Yeah?
Calvin?
What is your favorite boba? My go-to is just a standard pearl milk tea, but roasted version. So roasted pearl milk tea. That is, this gives a smoky flavor to the milk tea.
For some brands, you can hire the people that are really, really friendly to customers. You can hire people with that personality. You
Yeah.
don't have to train the people in the back with as much efforts as we are putting in. So we're definitely very scared. And also we do know that it comes a long way. Like the impact of that probably won't show on day one. It's probably going to show on in 2 years, you know. So how do we climb down the mountain?
To Hannah, market saturation in LA is only a matter of time. There's so many players in her home country that competing on brand is futile.
Yep,
In China,
boba
every
is
brand has a mascot, every cup is decorated,
boba
and
is
no one
definitely
memorable.
oversaturated
In her
now.
own Chinese words, Hannah isn't trying to da ping pai. She's not looking to establish 7 Miles as a brand. Her shops by design lack
They know what
position,
people
and she
like.
admits it's difficult to even explain 7 Miles as a concept since they serve everything. Fruit teas, dessert drinks, classic milk tea, and trendy Asian flavors all under the broad umbrella of
Yeah.
bubble tea.
We are not trying to label ourselves with fresh fruits, organic products, developing a space where people can socialize.
Like
We're
fruit-based
trying to be a boba
drinks?
shop people can rely on. They think our products are consistent.
Fruit-based drinks aren't
and we're trying
terrible.
to make it a brand.
7 Mile Trees, Oreo cookie milk tea, Marvel matcha brulee, classic dirt. Oh yeah, like this is nice. They are trying to stand out with their different kind of drinks menu, which is pretty good. If I were to see this, I probably would try a few of these. The matcha selections are good. The cookie ones, in my experience, the cookie crumble gets soggy too fast. The cheese foam ones are pretty nice. Yeah.
They think our products are consistent, and we're trying to make it a brand that's not offering the best service, but are comfortable for people. If you want to be quick, you can come in and pick it up. If you want to not socialize, you can order on kiosk. If you prefer the social, we give it to you. So we're
Cookie
trying to be
provides
a brand
nice texture.
That's your neighborhood
True.
brand.
For Hannah, the only strategy worth pursuing is product. 5 years ago, ingredient quality and menu creativity was enough to differentiate. Her theory is that people in LA nowadays know boba so well that they already have preconceived desires and expectations when they walk in. The challenge is not just offering a
is
drink
true.
that will exceed those
The
expectations,
same here.
it's also having a menu that will guide customers to the right choice, even if they're not able to express what it is that they really want.
If we were to go open a new boba tea shop here, you think you're comparing with boba shops that already existed on the street, and you think that if I offer the same product, are you going to gain the same amount of customers? The answer is no, because if you're offering the same product at the same price point, they'll tend to go to the shops that they're already
Boba
known.
is gross.
In order for you to
You're gross.
stand out in that
I mean, it's
competition, is that
it's
you
not
need
for
to offer
everyone,
better products
probably.
at better price point. And they're not
Especially if you are lactose.
It's very subjective for a business owner. Like if I taste
Yeah, if
it
you're
one by
lactose,
one, I have
then
chew in my hand.
boba
I
is
can
not for
taste the
you.
difference. But if you
don't
were
like
asking
milk,
them to taste
there
it
are
today
other-
and taste it tomorrow,
there are other
they might
ways
not notice
to enjoy
So
it,
takes
like
a lot
fruit-based
for a
ones.
customer to actually change what they're used to. You know, it's not just one visit. There's a Chinese term. It's called 双变, right? 双变. It's a
双变.
point where they come in with a certain need and you fill up that need. So
But yeah.
I think when you are offering products, you're actually offering service. We're not trying to offer the best peach fruit tea. We're trying to see what does the customer actually
Oh,
want
so they're
when
just
they want a fruit tea. You know,
Going
maybe they're
for
trying to
service
quench
over
the thirst.
quality.
Maybe they're trying to have a lot of flavors in this cup. Maybe they're trying to find
True.
something creamy. Maybe
Gearing
they're just
each
trying
one to
have
their
a lot of ingredients. Like
the
I want
customer,
boba,
yeah.
I want everything in this cup. I want a lot of things to chew on. I think for boba tea, the fun thing about this business is it's so diversified and it's so big that there can be a lot of things happening in that one cup of tea. We're not trying to have a very extensive menu where he has to make very, very complicated decisions. We're trying to
Yeah.
have very simplified menu. So
A
it
simple
makes
menu
sense
where
for
they can build
reliable
whatever they
shop.
want.
Yet
Is
this
nice.
product focus is a privilege in itself.
Yeah.
With so much foot traffic right outside the door, the challenge for 7 Miles is conversion, not awareness. A shop in a weaker location could not afford such a reductive lens on strategy. Yet while drinks are the public-facing competitive advantage of any bubble tea shop, the real moat
Oh,
is in the
there's
supply
ads.
chain.
Oh, so it is
70%
working.
of the shops that are
It-
currently
are ads still
existing in this
popping up?
market are trying to buy local. trying to use whatever source are available to them in the most convenient way, in the smallest business
No.
unit that you can have.
There's no
However, if
ads?
you're trying to use the same ingredients all the time, the same ingredients as the rest of the 6 bubble tea shops on your street, how do you create a single cup of products that's surprising to customers? If you're using the same old teas, same old flavors, how do you have enough creativity to make sure your customer are excited for this cup?
It's all the
How
sugar
can
stuff
you
that
differ
gets
from
them,
anyone
or
else?
and all the
If
different
you are
flavors
using
and
the same
textures that gets them
ingredients,
hooked.
then it only relies on your
There's only so
creativity,
many
and
types of
that's very
teas, but a lot of them
unreliable.
use the same
You probably
base.
can have one cup of tea that's successful because of your creativity, but you can't have a whole line of products that's,
Tea is good.
more tasty,
Yeah,
or like
tea is
it's
good.
better taste than other people, right? If you're using the same ingredients, it's very hard for you to compete.
Yeah.
Because the ingredients are what make up the drinks, and the drinks in turn are what make or break the business. What exactly you use and who you get them from are closely guarded secrets for every owner in this world. For this reason, we weren't allowed to film any supplies in their kitchen, as that would be giving away her competitive advantage. Hannah's bubbly personality is a fascinating contrast with her pragmatic character. She views the industry with such stoicism that she openly shares these hard truths with uncanny nonchalance. Business is rational, money is the only objective, chains and independents all have their right to belong, and there's no value in morality.
If you're in boba tea
Marsh.
business, you more or less have to face the decision of whether I should
I get
franchise
any-
or not. There is a lot of advantage of
Nope,
franchise,
nothing.
especially if you're a new beginner. However, you need to see that the franchise market is very, very different from the retail market. They are trying to make money out of volume, out of scale. They are
Volume.
able to
Yep.
gain
Chains
profit as
just
they
sell
build up the volume and scale.
in
So
volume.
you need to see
Yeah.
behind their intention to be able
What's
to
up, Koa?
figure out whether sometimes you're sharing the same piece of pie. There are certain conflicts that are not going to be resolved as a franchisee and franchisor. And you need to face them and you need to acknowledge them. There's no right or wrong. It's part of the game. As you have a lot of experience with the industry, you're going to see the big picture of it at some point. And it's very helpful to see the big picture, to know that what you're competing with, especially for a small brand like Sunhouse. In the franchise business, usually you're asked to pay a royalty. You make an initial payment to the brand, and those are the money that's clear to you. However, when you are a franchisee, you are able to tell a lot of the cost your inventories does go to the brand. And that's very, very normal. It makes 100% sense that they're taking that money. However, what if your inventory cost is triple the market cost? What if your shipping cost is triple the market cost? What if your profit is completely eaten up by that? You need to understand that your initial investment is part of it, your royalty is part of it, your ingredients, your inventory is part of it. Also, at the same time, they're trying to build up their skills, so they're trying to open as many as they can open, whereas you are trying to be the only one.
Typical
in your
franchising,
area,
yeah.
right? So there are a lot of aspects that goes behind the franchising. Whereas the smaller brand, you don't need to face that, but on the other hand, you face the power of how they're going to nail you with their brand, right? How they're going to nail you with their R&D, how they're going to nail you with their marketing, with all the forces that they have behind them. So it's not an easy game for anyone. I'm trying to say that people are in different games, people are in here for different profit, and you need to understand that, and you need to have that
Franchising
perspective.
sucks.
Whatever.
Not necessarily. Franchising can help you streamline a lot of your logistics, but it does cost. It does come at a cost where you do pay royalties, you do pay maybe premiums on your ingredients, but you do have the backing of the brand name. It's just like joining just like VTubers joining an agency. You do have the brand name backing, and so you do get a big boost of clientele that knows you already, but that comes at a cost.
Whatever business decision that you're going
7 Miles Tea Lab on Sawtell grosses on average $90,000 a month
True.
for an annual revenue of
True, yeah.
$1.08 million. Meanwhile, their store in Artesia grosses half of that, $45,000 a month for an annual revenue of $540,000. Location is the only difference between the two stores and demonstrates just how important that variable is in retail. As a beverage-only business, the average order size sits at just $9. Yet store-level operating margins sit at 30%, some of the highest ever covered on modern MBA in retail. Yet the density of competition on Sawtell and the non-brand focus means that Hannah isn't able to push pricing. 7 Miles is positioned in the middle of the market, and she's sensitive about raising prices in what is ultimately a volume business. Despite the eye-popping numbers, Hannah is a realist. In her mind, disruption, just like saturation, is inevitable. She can't predict how long 7 Miles will last, but despite the fragility, she's just opened store number 3 in Chino. In the world of bubble tea, scale is mandatory. The more shops you open, the more negotiating power you get with suppliers, which not only lower costs and increase profits, but also widens ingredient possibilities.
Yeah.
Your initial supply chain and drinks are how you penetrate the market, but scale is how you strengthen your business. This is why Hannah, even as an independent, is focused on expanding to as many locations as possible while she has the momentum, just like the Asian brands and the legacy coffee and smoothie chains that came decades before bubble tea.
When we're looking at industry, there's a period where your industry starts and then it's growing until it reaches maturity and then it starts to decline. I feel like the LA boba tea market is on the way reaching the maturity. We see a lot of consolidation, like we see a lot of brands that are not doing so well, they will die because bigger brands are merging and the market itself is merging into those few survivors. And then it's going to reach the maturity of it. There used to be a period where a boba tea shop pops up, people will come. We're no longer in that era, and I feel like whoever is going to come into this business needs to know that.
Yeah.
People are no longer excited about it as it used to be. You
Yeah.
need to be
Compared
almost
to
like
back
mature
in
this business in order to survive. It is a business
2010,
with
2015,
so I always say that
that was probably the
beginners
boom
you
of
probably
popularity
need 3 stores to have your
in
own
North America
distribution
at least.
channel, to have ingredients that are more superior than
In
the
rural areas, you
probably
might still
need
be
10
able to
shops
garner
to
some
have the top-notch products. You
attention
probably
for
need
it,
15
but
to have certain
in major
technology.
cities, it's
So
kind of
it's
hard.
no longer a market for beginners. It's a market for those who are already established. It's hitting the maturity. And I only say that for California. I don't say that for a lot of other states.
Yep.
Some of them, I think you still have opportunities to make people exciting for
The states that don't have it,
and then
yep.
you have time to figure it out. But for California, unfortunately, I don't think it's that market anymore. There's currently 6 or 7 boba tea shops on the street that we're on, and we are currently performing relatively well. The market is not going to outbeat the growth of the number of boba tea shops. So the people who are drinking it is not going to outbeat the growth of how many boba tea shops there are going to be. So we are at the end of the day trying to split the same pie. We feel like if
I live
we
in
are
a
bringing
slightly
better products,
rural
then
area.
we're taking
Yeah.
some customer over, and there will be shops that are going to not survive
You
anymore.
probably don't
unfortunately.
have many
And
shops,
they are going to
many
be
choices then,
replaced
right?
by the ones who are doing better than them. It's a business of skill. You have to have a certain volume for it to grow, to find better ingredients, to build your own distribution channel, for you to be able to build
I have
a
one
better
cocoa and one
team.
cha
So it comes
time.
down
Yeah.
to a lot of
I mean, that's all you
perspective,
need,
but it is
really.
a business that you have to
If you want to
reinvest
try
in.
more, you have
Maybe
to
on
enter a
opening
big
new
city.
shops, maybe on distribution channels, maybe on your warehousing, maybe on, I don't know, maybe on promoting a new manager. But it is not like we keep the profit of this month. We haven't kept a penny from the first day. It has all been moving to, upgrade your game. Unfortunately, that's how this business is. You really have to keep upgrading your game, otherwise you won't survive in the competitions.
Yeah. True. Well, yeah, that's boba. It is a saturated market. It's tough to grow in. The best places is probably rural university campus areas. Like if you take Ontario for example, probably like Waterloo, Kitchener, London, those places will do better than if you just opened up a shop amongst like 5 other shops. Yeah. True. Yeah, but yeah. That is... I won't watch the rest of that, but yeah. See if there's anything trending. Rigged. Rigged is trending. New Western Alliance. You can totally see this happening. If this happens, that would be pretty crazy. New map of Canada. RIP Canada. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds about right. Everyone is saying that it's rigged. But yeah, that is that. Let's see if there's anything coming up about this. Oh, is it actually called Wexit? What does Wexit stand for? Wexit Western West, is it West Exit? What is this? Oh yeah, okay, so Wexit is short for Western Exit. Is a separatist movement that advocates for the independence of Western Canada, which includes BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, as well as territories of Yukon and Northwest Territories. Yeah. So it'd be pretty crazy if it does happen, but RIP Canada. How many? Oh right, how many signatures do they need? They need, if I remember correctly, they needed 50% of their population. So the referendum they need is 587,952 signatures. Yes, I do remember hearing they needed about like 600,000 signatures, and they're already at almost 200,000 signatures. Well, they are 33% of the way there, pretty much. 66% more, about with 400k more signatures, and goodbye Alberta. Everyone is making all these maps. But yeah, that's pretty much, it's about 1 hour. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to go over today. Nothing else, nothing much more to cover. I don't have any pending videos. If there's any videos that you want me to watch and comment over, just send them through. As for any topics you want me to talk about, just post them on my Discord or send it to me somehow and I will cover it. Eidolon is still Eidoloning. Still going. Eventually, I do plan on changing up the side thing where Eidolon is currently showing. I'll probably rotate that through with different things. Still building out the stream layout, but yeah, I have to set up a few more audio things, set up a few more transitions. And yeah. Oh, there's an ad in progress, but are you getting any ads, TJ? Any ads? Yeah, so it's working. You don't get ads if you are subscribed. Well, anyways, that's pretty much all I have for today. I'll see you all on Thursday. Thursday, I'll probably be playing a game. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. I won't tell you what game yet, but you shall find out when on Thursday. What game? Nope, I'm not telling you. But yeah, that'll be it for today. I'll be back Thursday evening, and yeah, I'll see you all later.